children more interested in finishing a lesson he doesn't like or walking away? Sorry, I have
Yeah.
to put my reading glasses
Yeah.
on.
My son is 12 years. I have twins, 12
Right?
years, 5 months, in different places. One I am totally homeschooling. The other one is kind of doing some online things with the school system.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, I started out with, a good plan, but plans don't always work the way you
Okay, you
want them.
readjust the plan. Let's readjust the plan. That's what we're doing. Readjusting the plan.
Well, and it's like, okay, so I have a unit on birds that I wanted to finish, and it's like, and I just said, our goal is to finish this, and then it's just not seeming to happen. It's like every time we work on it, it's, I get resistance.
So let me ask you about that. So your lessons are completely planned out.
Well, the way I plan them, not as good as you would like, probably.
Well, the reason why I say that, and it's not about me and what I would like, it's about what children need. Like children will rise when they know that you planned it out. When they don't, when they know that you haven't, then they're like, I'm going to pick at her. This is kids. It's in very few instances do you not have a child like that. Like you might have, I have 5 children. I have one child who'd be like, okay, mom, I'll be as patient as you need me to be. The rest of them are like, come on, lady, can't believe you don't have your crap together. So you want to like look at your child, like what is it that this child needs? This child needs you to have it planned out completely to the nines, and so that you know exactly what it is that you're doing, then that's what you do. Because if that's why you're not getting the follow through, often the follow through from a child starts with us. They see our follow through, and if they don't think that we're going to follow through, guess what? They don't think it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look at your lessons that you're trying to finish. And it's, how many lessons are left? 3, 4, 10?
Like 5, 5 or 6.
All right, 5. So your child is 12. I would have a meeting of the minds and say, listen, there are 5 lessons left here. We're going to do one today, one tomorrow, one the next day. We're going to get all 5 of them done. Today's Monday. We're going to have them all done by Friday. Here's my commitment to you. My commitment is that I will show up every day and we will get the lessons finished. Your commitment to me is that you're going to do them and we're not going to do anything fun until it happens. So let's get it done. And also try to make it engaging. Like, are you bird watching? Is it just a nature study on birds? Like what is it? Because, I think I promise I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just saying for me, I would not do any sort of unit on anything that we couldn't observe either through literature or seeing it.
No, you know what? I mean, we have part of it included like listening to the birds. We have birds to watch. We've tried to go out and do birds, but I'd like, okay, let's go out and just even sit in our yard. We have lots of things to observe. We have the bird feeder that we filled. But then it's like, when it's like, okay, it's like, it lasts for 2 minutes. And then it's like, I'm going to come back inside. I don't want to do this.
So do you lay an expectation? Do you lay an expectation like we're going to, so I go, I'm sorry that you think it's stupid. We're going to sit out here for 5 minutes, but lay the expectation. Lay the expectation. We're going outside and we're going to sit for 5 minutes and we're going to listen to the birds. And in part of that meeting of the minds that you have with your child, I would say, listen, we can have a good time with this, or it can really suck and not be fun at all. But if we can work on this together, because that's schooling, you're like in a partnership, you're coupled up in schooling, we can do it in a fun way, or we can do it in a hard way, because it's going to get done.
Well, and I think that's the part. It's like, I give, that there is that choice part of it, but I feel like this will part is the willing part is
lacking.
Is not in the norm. I don't feel like my kid's in the normal range. I mean, I'm the
What temperament do you think your child is? Sounds phlegmatic, just
I have
telling you.
no idea. I have no idea. I don't.
Have you spent some time studying temperament?
Enough, just a little bit. I think I'm melancholy, but something else.
Yeah. I think you are, and you're getting your feelings really hurt because your child does not want to play ball.
Okay, so he told me, because it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, it was like, okay, I'm just going to set the lessons aside. Today we're going to work in the kitchen. We need to make some recipes. You're my assistant and we're doing math, and here's the recipe, and we have to double it. And he had to do fractions, and he told his dad that was the best math lesson he ever had.
That's great.
But it's like, I can't make that. I can't make that everything, right?
Right, but like, let's go back to your bird experience. So, do you know for sure that the birds you're studying you're going to find in your yard?
Yes. I mean, we were working on the crow was one of them. We have crows that nest nearby. We listen to a lecture. We have a couple books,
Yeah, don't go overboard. Remember, like, it sounds like you're doing some Charlotte Mason stuff, which is great. But one of the things that I'd like to share with all my Charlotte Mason families is you're not trying to create a college degree in what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
We're just giving a taste. You want him to still want to know about birds later. So I would instead say, hey, so we've watched a documentary on crows. Your job today, here's the binoculars, go out and spend 30 minutes observing crows, and then come in and write about it. Period. End of discussion. Then you're done. You step away and you've given it all to him. And so sorry, sir, there will be no TV or video games until that's finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have a workbook that we were working through that, it was like labeling the part of a bird, and then it was like, I was supposed to just introduce. There was
but workbooks are kind of dead. So what if instead you had him draw a bird and label what he saw?
Yes, that would work.
Or instead you hopped on YouTube and you found a video how to draw a crow.
Okay.
Listen, I was on there drawing camels yesterday or something I was doing. How to draw a camel. Found it like that. So you want to get, he's older. I would never suggest this for an 8 or 9-year-old, but he's 12. So, you definitely want to meet them in a different way. And anytime I want to use a resource that's like a workbook, it always falls flat. Always. So if I want to use the resource because I think the lessons in there are good, I always recreate them in their main lesson book.
Okay.
Because then it gives them more ownership over it. Like a workbook, they're like, wait, whatever. But their main lesson book that they've spent time on, there'll be a little bit more ownership over it.
Okay. So my embarrassment here, is there a lesson in the Thinking, Feeling Well, and where do I find main lesson book planning? I do it, but it never. Yeah.
Well, Planning for Peace is all about laying out those main lessons.
Okay.
So that's each piece of your lessons that, for let's just say 6th grades, that's a main lesson. So, you put those pieces in a main lesson book, and a main lesson book can be a sketchbook, it can be an actual main lesson book. It doesn't matter. Okay. Like, it's just about putting that, you're stepping away from the worksheet model and stepping into the possibility that happens when you have ownership over drawing it and writing it without lines and all of those things on your own.
Okay. So one of our successes was we did a unit, like we read a bunch of fables and then we painted them all, right? And that went over well.
Okay.
We rewrote them in our own words. Yeah. So that's
good. That's a success. So tell me, let me just ask, what is your hesitance in stepping into the Waldorf curriculum? The reason why I'm asking is because a 12-year-old should not be doing fables. Even though your child has got some other things going on, your 12-year-old needs conquering stories.
You know what? And I started with the Romans and we started reading the stories and I just couldn't seem to get him interested. I don't know. I just, because I think the other twin was there, we were just, it was kind of at his reading level where we were, I was just trying to catch up a little bit.
Sure. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Like, it was something where it was something I felt I could conquer, I guess. So.
Well, and it sounds like you had a great experience with it. I want to give you permission to do the harder things with him, because even though his reading level is lower, there are many things that you can accomplish without reading with regards to the Romans. You know, we recommend Engineering an Empire, which is a great series. Tell me he's not going to get interested in that. I mean, Engineering an Empire is anything but boring.
So that's the name of a book?
No, it's the name of a series. It's on the History Channel, or I think they have them on YouTube. Engineering an Empire. There's Engineering an Empire Rome. There's Egypt, Greece. There's probably 10.
Okay.
That I recommend for middle school and high school.
Okay.
They're hosted by Peter Weller, who played RoboCop in the 80s. And he went back and got a history degree because he loved history so much. And then they put him in charge of that show. So it's engaging. He's a great storyteller. You could utilize some of those pieces, and then you come together and you talk about it more in depth. And oh, look, we're going to build an aqueduct together. When we did grade 6 with Super Sam, we built an aqueduct out of the model stuff that you buy at the craft store. Do things that are experiential. That's what he's asking you for. If he had a lot of fun baking with you, he wants to do things that are fun.
Okay.
Is there a place where you could go? I can think of like 4 places in San Diego where you could go and see taxidermied birds.
Yeah, with the Caleb's sporting goods store has them.
Oh yeah, like Cabela's? Yeah. Go there.
Yeah.
And do your bird search there. Then you're up close.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had some stuff planned for Rome. I bought, we went to Rome 2 years ago and it was
fun.
So we were gonna get out all of our pictures and we had some aqueducts and I bought
what stopped you?
It's just, I think I started it and I couldn't get him interested in what I was doing. So my lesson plan must not have been good because I couldn't get him engaged at all. So
again, when you laid out your lessons, did you sit and meditate on what he needs? Yeah, that's such an important piece. If I could get y'all to do anything, it would be that. Like ask your child spirit, what do you need from me? How do you need this material? Because they still need the material, but it's all in delivery. I've done the Romans block, 4 times now. And each child has been incredibly different, depending on who they were and what they needed.
Okay.
One child, we focused a lot on art because she was very much into art. One child everything had to be experiential. Another child was like, they were all different. One child just wanted to read about it. Like, they're all different. So they need the material, but how you bring it is that key piece. In a Waldorf classroom, the teacher has to do things for all the children there. So they have to, balance this one over here and then do this over here. But at home, you have the opportunity to bring everything the way your child needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift, a huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go off and we just plan things the way we want to, and we don't stop and think, okay, what does my child need?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do.
But but how do you build in things the will, like, okay, so I'm just going to segue into.
It's okay. You're good.
So I bought this book.
Uh-huh.
And so it says in 6th grade to stop painting and then do like charcoal drawing, but we never have done painting until this year.
Yeah. So don't, I would do some
painting.
painting. I would do a block on painting.
Okay.
And then go into charcoal.
Painting? Do a whole block.
Well, not separate from, so I'm saying like for a whole month in the afternoon after your main lessons, paint.
Oh.
So it's separate from your morning lesson.
Okay. Okay.
You know, where you're just painting together. Not every day, maybe twice a week.
Okay.
And you're working on technique and you're working on how the paint moves and you're giving him that experience.
Okay.
Then absolutely move into doing some charcoal drawings.
Okay.
Why don't you guys like pick up Rome and do some charcoal drawings on aqueducts?
Okay. Okay.
You know?
Okay. And then so I'm
It's okay.
Handwork. So like I didn't know
Start
how to
at the
knit.
beginning.
I'm teaching myself how to knit. I've been working on it for a couple of months. And I'm terrified to figure out how to introduce it to them. Both my boys do not cross the midline. And I know that everybody says that knitting can help this.
Oh yeah, knitting will help cross the midline a lot. So I would start with some brain gym.
Okay.
You know,
brain gym
do a little brain gym stuff. Huh? You don't know what brain gym? Yeah. Okay. So do a little brain gym activities and then work knitting. I would work on them separately because especially if they both have some challenges. And, you know, I had 2 kids with challenges. I used to teach co-op knitting. Oh man, 20 kids, 4 of them have struggles. Yes, not fun. So, you know, I think it's a good idea to teach them both separately.
Okay.
But you want to be confident in that, you know, I would spend a week before you work with them, casting on, casting off for yourself. Like run through in your head how the lesson's going to go. Start with finger knitting. Make sure that they know that action.
I've never finger knitted, so I supposed to YouTube that.
Just a slip knot. Yeah.
Oh, just like a crochet line, a crochet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what you call.
And you can all do. I mean, they call it finger knitting. They call it finger crochet. You can do hand knitting where you weave it around your fingers and you know, make a tube out of your hand. Those are all skills that we do before we put them on the needles.
Okay. So
and you might even consider making your own knitting needles, because then that makes them even more invested. Let them pick out their own yarn, dye your own yarn. Like there are things you can do that really help them be invested in that process.
Okay. And I've been
breathe deep.
Yeah, I've been charting my schedule, right?
Your rhythm. Mm-hmm.
My rhythm. Yes. And I need to talk with my doctor again, because I'm waking up every day at 3 a.m. No matter what.
That's pretty normal. How old are you?
57.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty normal. Like,
yeah, but I can't go back to sleep, and then it screws up.
Then go to bed at 8. Go to bed at 8 or 9.
Yeah, I could go to bed.
9's probably not enough. You gotta go to bed at 8. You're gonna be waking up like that. So when you wake up, is it anxiety? Is it just that you're up for the day? I mean, your kids are 12. Could you take a nap in the afternoon?
My youngest kids are 12. I wake up worried about this.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
So you're not meditating?
My other kids are back east. They're in college. They are on their own, but they can't come home for Christmas. Yeah.
Right. So you've got a lot of worries. I'm going to guarantee you that if you start meditating, that's going to get better. Yeah. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Such a good audiobook.
All right, thank you. I've got 3 boys. I'm from England. I've emailed you a few times, and I'm absolutely useless at getting involved with this community and not helping myself. So my concern is my eldest boy, Reed, who's 10 on Valentine's Day. My other 2 are 6.5 and 8.5. And with my eldest, I started him in September. So in England, I sort of started him right for his age, but with personal problems of my own. I ran late, and then I told myself, right, I'll start him from January. So we started in January on his third grade, which is coming towards the end of, but he's still got like, as you call it in America, a semester left. He's still got a term left of that. And we've moved house. We've had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of upheaval. So I've sort of run late again with that. And I feel as though I'm not doing it, any justice. He's getting the short straw out of the three of them. And really, I need to be planning for my grade 4. It's like I'm holding him back, and it's my own problem, not his. And I'm scared of starting grade 4, which really should be ready to do like January. But by the time I finish the last block, it's going to be just after his 10th birthday. So my question is, what's the deadline to me really making him run late, nearly dropping him back a year, which I don't need to do, but also I'm conscious of I don't want to start grade 4 when I feel as though I've not done him justice on grade 3. There's a few things that he's absolutely on track with, but there's quite a bit that he's not.
Sure.
And it's my issues, not his. So I've got
so take a deep breath. So much. Take a deep breath and repeat after me. I plan to save guilt for sin.
I plan to save guilt for sin.
Get over it, Rachel. Like, seriously, it's not your child's fault. So I would look at what needs to happen from grade 3. And the things that I would focus on not missing would be math.
Yeah.
And you want to have those Old Testament stories in there. So I would either buy the Jacob Straight books or download the ones that you can get from Waldorf Library and just have him read them.
Yeah, we've got one more book to read, but I'd like to read them all again because it's spread out a bit far. We love the books and he's doing really well with his maths, but I just need to brush up on things. I just feel as though I need to go over a few things and make sure he's really learned and embodied it all, if that makes sense. And I don't want to start disorganized.
So no, I understand. Did you do a farming block in grade 3?
We have. I don't use your curriculum. I use one that's all planned out, an English-based one, but I'm that temperament that until I was to buy one of your curriculums and learn that, I'm probably one that I would like to be inspired by both and combine them. I don't know. I'm just guessing that's my
right. And this is what I'm going to tell you, though. Even though it's your temperament, Rachel, I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart. You have to stop that because you're not doing your child a service.
Yeah.
Stop it. Pick one and stick to it.
You sound like my partner.
Like now.
Yeah. I know that's what
this is what I hear from you is like, yes, I want to do this and this, but I feel so guilty because I'm not doing any of it. So it'd be one thing if you had 4 different resources and you were kicking ass and doing it all, but you're not.
Yeah, no.
So let's pare it down to one and follow it to the letter until you get your feet under you and you go, okay, this feels good. I've been doing this. We're doing lessons productively. I feel like we're back on track. Now I can add in something else. But when we spend time like more and more and more and more and more, it's just more. It's just more. And it's not giving you what you need. So things to work on for yourself. I'm going to ask you a really tough question. You don't have to answer right now, but I'm going to put it in your brain and plant a seed so that you can start thinking about it. Why are you not enough?
I think
hold on to it.
Yeah, like confidence.
No, I don't think it has. Yeah. But that's a deep piece of inner work. If you don't feel like you're enough, you're constantly seeking something more.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get things all the way completed and go, oh, well, I could use another resource for this. But when you don't feel like you're enough because you don't think you have the confidence doesn't come from hopping ship. Confidence comes from studying what's in front of you.
Yeah, and I haven't even studied the curriculum, and it's beautiful. There's so much loveliness in it, but I've kind of got this perfection side to me, but I don't even do it, if you know what I mean. So
and that's why I'm saying I'm just calling BS on it because there's something deeper that has nothing to do with your child, Waldorf, or anything. It has to do with something that's inside Rachel. So as you heal that, the rest will heal itself. But you have to heal that piece. There is something that motivates you to do what you're doing, which is, the jumping from here to here to here. So there's something within you that motivates you. There's either something from your childhood or your past that you need to heal, but there is a reason why you are not okay with having certainty.
Yeah.
That you need to have variety all the time. And so it either came from your childhood or past trauma. You have to decide, hey, you know what? I'm a grown-ass woman. Now I'm swearing, y'all. Sorry. I'm a grown-ass woman, and I can choose to settle down. I can choose to do what my child needs. I can choose to have peace in my home.
Yeah. So
it's a choice we get to make. Like, we get to choose it. And, you know, as children, I hear my children all the time go, I can't wait to be a grown-up. I'm like, no, because then you have to make all the choices. It's not that we just get to make them. We have to make them. So really step back and ask yourself, what has to happen in order for you to finish up grade 3? And honestly, I would say, give yourself 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. Make a clean break. If you want to start grade 4 in the month of your son's birthday, then I would give yourself 2 weeks to finish. By January 15th, you're done. And from the 15th to the 31st, you are planning grade 4.
Yeah.
And that means you have to read the whole curriculum.
Yeah. So and
take it all in.
Yeah. So you're saying if I was to buy your curriculum right now, it'd just make me even more skittish. Stick with the one I've got, plan it, and use your planning for peace, which I still haven't done properly, and plan properly for the curriculum that I'm using. Then when I'm on track, then I could consider looking at yours maybe.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I am pretty biased because I think our curriculum is pretty awesome. I think our grade 4 especially I love grade 4. But if you've got a curriculum resource, I'm not going to tell you to come and buy ours unless you hate what you're using. So, but you know, definitely you have Planning for Peace, use it. Yeah. Absolutely use it and do all the pieces.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what I'm using. I think it's because I haven't studied it all enough, or Steiner's work in general. And I think it's laid out day to day. It's all done for you. And because I'm homeschooling 3 boys, that doesn't work. So what I'm inspired and drawn to you by is how you look at the overall picture and how you talk a lot about balancing 3 kids. So I feel as though there's a lot of goodness in your curriculum that I'd really connect with, but it would probably just sozzle my head even more. I'd probably buy your curriculum.
It's up to you. I mean, it's on sale right now, 30% off till the end of the month. Yeah. So, you know, I think,
I don't know.
You know, and, you know, we are revising this year, and anybody who owns it will have access to the revisions. So, I mean, it is.
No, it's helped is what you said. My partner says it, and I know it, but I just think I needed a female approach. That's not, I just needed a bit of woman power to talk to me, because when my partner tells me something, sometimes I don't want to hear him.
I understand.
Hey,
I understand.
Melissa,
yeah.
Can I just pop in and say something? I've been like wanting to say something.
Melanie.
So I see myself in Rachel where I was 3 years ago. Bouncing everywhere, and so I'll introduce myself real quick. I'm one of Melissa's leaders,
and she's our director at the school.
I'm also director at Seasons of 7, but I see myself in you where I was 3 years ago, so much so that I couldn't hold it in anymore. Again, if you have something you love, go ahead and use it, but I would consider buying Melissa's curriculum because it's the only one out there that when I finally chose to use it properly, it didn't feel hollow. It felt like I was doing what I needed to do for myself and my child, and it felt good and wholesome. It really felt like I was feeding us as a family instead of just checking boxes.
Yeah.
So I think the reason I kept hopping around was, oh, this looks great. Let me see how that feels. And then it starts off feeling good. And then again, it falls short and it feels hollow and it doesn't really fill us.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe I should just buy it and read it, and if not, then I know either way, because I will probably stop, this little voice won't stop chirping in my head. But I know what Melissa says. I've got to just get one and focus on it, because I know it would be really good if I used the one I did better and added bits to it, researched it more, and added my own essence to it. I think that's the thing. I know I can add more value to it, but yeah, thank you for that. That's really helpful, both of you. Thank you.
But what I wanted to say is, well, those curriculums that have everything laid out, they seem like a good idea. But when you start doing it, it's almost like you're doing a paint by numbers instead of creating something. And it never feels good when you're done.
Like, as though you could have done it better. And because I'm not planning ahead, it's like, why didn't I plan this better and just read it even a few weeks before would have even been better? But that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's just I just see myself 3 years ago sitting there, and I just wanted to give you that advice that, if you can afford it, don't be afraid to jump in. If you want to stick with what you've got, then go ahead and do that. But I really think if your searching is about the same thing that mine was like, you want it to feel like it's hitting right and that you've really gotten to the meat of it, then I don't think something that's completely laid out for you, like say this, draw this, sing this.
Yeah.
I don't think it can fill that void.
Yeah. No, I'll buy it. And I need to come to the Friday weekly meetings, because just doing this, you feel part of something. And I feel so alone. I've got 3 boys. We just moved to Scotland, and it's absolutely perfect with the forest behind us. I couldn't wish for a better place. So I feel so blessed and lucky, but I've just got to get my backside in gear. And as you say, Melissa, I've got to show up. So thank you.
Show up. Absolutely. And come to office hours. I mean, twice a month, the office hours will be at a time that will be okay for you. So absolutely. Thank you, Melanie, for that. Thank you. Melanie and I have had those conversations about things feeling hollow. And I do think that that's a big part of it. If you're not taking it in and making it your own, even though we lay it out, we want you to understand. We want you to study. That's what the whole front end of the curriculum is about. It's about that study piece. So, definitely, if it feels better to come and grab ours and get started, then do that. But I definitely think you've just got to dig in and give yourself permission to dig in and not feel like you can only dabble, because when we dabble, we don't get very far. And with your sanguine nature, it will build your will to dig in and stay connected.
Yeah.
It will help you.
Thank you.
It will help you a lot. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to grab Angie's. Angie, do you want to try again?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, another sanguine here. My issue is I've been doing this since the beginning, so 7 years or so. I've got an 11-year-old son in grade 5 and a coming up to 5-year-old we've been doing kindergarten life, but and it's all going well, except for now I'm doing my planning for the next 6 months, because I'm very good about doing all that stuff, and I feel like I've lost my passion for the stories or something, in the sense that I have been normally for the last 7 years I've been really good about reading and getting the story sorted and all the props and everything, just like you teach us. But then now I am not doing it. I've noticed in the last sort of 6 weeks, well, this Christmas month I actively took off because I was getting frustrated, but the kind of leading up to that, I was flying by the seat of my pants a bit, because I'd come to the end of all my props that I'd prepared in summer. And normally I'm about 3 or 4 weeks ahead of myself. So I don't get to that point. But then I got to that point. So now I'm sitting there.
Not a fun place to be.
No, it's horrid. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to kind of get back into that. But then I kind of do the stories, and I find we do better. I do better if I tell the stories rather than just reading them, because I tend to be able to be a bit more responsive to timing. Otherwise, if I read the whole thing, sometimes it takes longer, and I don't know. But if I tell the stories, it works better. So it does mean more work for me. But I tried just read them, and I got bored reading them the next day. So I'd read them the night before, and then the next day when I was actually reading them again properly, I'd get bored. And this is me coming through on.
So which
it's not
stories
my
are we talking about?
education, it's
First
my
grade? Are we talking
no,
about first
fifth.
grade?
No, fifth
grade.
grade. So I've been doing. I do my own. I also tried years ago, having a spine curriculum and doing my own thing, and that didn't work. So what I ended up doing over the years, I've created my own curriculum effectively. So I'm using Kovacs books, stories as my kind of spine, and I'm just kind of for ancient history, and the India stories, they just didn't. I've just done. Well, November was when I did my last proper block. I kind of just couldn't make them come alive. I didn't know. I didn't want to know what I'm doing. Now I'm going in January now. I'm going to be doing geometry second block. And then February is going to be my Persia and Mesopotamia, and then after the break, I'm going to do Egypt as well. But so I want to kind of prepare ahead for that. Geometry, I'm okay with, but it's just I can't seem to get excited, or I've lost some passion. I don't know what it is, and I'm doing exactly. I feel myself going down that slippery sanguine slope of, okay, well, Kovac's not going to work for me. I'll try someone else. I'll try this. I'll try that.
Right.
And
No,
I know
Kovacs
that doesn't
always
work.
works.
Yeah. So it's like.
So one of the things that I would say is by the time they get to fifth grade, I'm not pre-reading everything for them and then telling them the story. Often I'm just handing them Kovacs.
Yeah, just a little thing. My son he was a late reader, and he's only just got confident with reading.
Okay.
So maybe in the next few months, I'll be able to pass him the level of Kovac. But he's at the level now of, I would say, he'd probably be able to read the de Allaire's books on Norse mythology, which was from last time, but he wasn't able to from fourth grade. But that level he'd be able to. But Kovacs is actually quite sophisticated language here and there, so I'm still doing that. And so I've been telling the story rather than reading it.
Okay.
But I kind of I lost my planning, and now I'm kind of going back to this. I'm reading. I was going to read it, but that just didn't work. It was horrible. It says that I found. I was bored with the second reading of it, and then it just came through my lack of passion.
Have you spent some time sort of meditating on why you're bored with it?
Yeah.
And what comes to you?
Okay.
What comes to, like, if you've spent time meditating on it, what comes to you? Like what answers do you get?
I meditated on what's happening on the not doing it, and it was just. Well, I meditated on why am I trying to find different things? What just emptied it, and I got the answer of it's just this is boring. Going to do it again, and it's I guess it's the deadness of the reading of it the second time.
Okay.
For me,
so
but it's not my education. My son seems okay.
Right.
My mojo.
I was trying to think of how to work you through that. Like as a cleric, I would just get over it. So there has to be like a way to feed your sanguineness so that you want to stick with it. And so that you can, be looking forward to it. I think, what other things do you have going on in your life that are exciting?
Well, kindergarten, I enjoy that. So we're ramping up now because my 5-year-old is going to be 5 in January, and we've sort of started a bit of a light, and I've got a 2-day thing a week that's going really nicely. So I do a lot of puppetry.
Even aside from school,
stuff.
Do you have things that keep you excited aside from school?
I music. I play the piano, and
So are you doing enough of those things? Are you doing enough of those things to help feed that part of you so that when you have to do something that's a little bit boring, you can just get over it and do it?
Probably not. No.
Maybe
Yeah.
focus on that a little bit this week. Like, I know for myself, if I don't, like, I love to have time by myself to do art. And, you know, whether it be painting or, you know, whatever it is. So if I'm not actively doing that, I find that everything suffers.
Okay.
So there are other pieces within, you know, that I have to do then that I'm like push up against. So if I nourish myself and I keep myself in a good place, then it's easy for me to do those things that might seem a little bit like, don't really want to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. You know, because then it allows you to put your heart back into things. But if you are neglecting Angie, then Angie is going to want to neglect other things.
That makes total sense. It really does. And I'm just thinking the timing of it all. All my stuff I was doing stopped in about September, October, because my husband had some surgery and stuff, and I haven't picked it up again. That makes sense. And it's correlated with that sort of time.
So I would go
yeah.
back and I would get started. I would get started on something like today, as soon as you're done here.
Yeah.
Just go. I mean, I told my children on Christmas Eve, I don't care what y'all need. I have baked. Everything's ready for tomorrow. I am spending the whole day painting. They were like, okay, sure. Because I planned it. I put it as part of my plan, and I made everybody aware of it. So that way it was, you know, it was part of my rhythm. So it's got to be part of what you do.
Yeah. And
so I'm just going to prescribe some self-care, taking care of yourself, and really, and self-care is more, y'all, than just meditating. It's more than getting a shower without anybody touching you. It's more, it's doing the things you love. That make you excited about life.
No, that's perfect, actually. Thank you.
I would do that and then get back to your planning, because then you'll have renewed ice for your plan.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope that helps. You're welcome.
Okay.
Welcome. Glad you came today.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Did I miss anybody? Heather. Where are you? You want to talk about teenagers? How you doing, lady?
Hi. I'd be good if I didn't have these teenagers.
Guess what? They become adult children, and they're needier as adult children than they ever were as little teenagers. And
oh, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, well, I think I'm kind of going through the grief, and I think I might have mentioned that in the past, of the teenager, because just the pulling away.
Bittersweet.
Yes, and I think the saddest thing is that my 14-year-old was so he cared about things. He used to put effort into stuff. He wanted it to look good. He wanted to feel good about it. And he's at a stage now where he just doesn't care about anything.
He's a teenager. Like, I don't give a crap. Yeah.
You know, it's just so disheartening, because it's like, well, how did that just change? And, you know, and then of course trying to look at, okay, what did I do?
Well, I think there's a few things right now. Like, I think I'm seeing things more polarized because our kids are in the situation they're in. I mean, this COVID nonsense is hard for us. It's really hard for them.
Yes.
It's really hard for them. Even if you've got a situation where you're still getting together with friends, this is hard for them. And so, like, you know, there's almost a mourning process that we have to allow them to go through, because I know teenagers everywhere are depressed, like everywhere. And I'm seeing it. I'm hearing from parents every day that their children are really struggling. And that's really the shame in all of this. And so I feel like if you can come to that space of understanding, does he still talk to you? Will he still talk to you? And
well, not as much as he used to.
That's normal.
He seems to want to just he wants to cover up all feelings. You know, he used to talk to me. I mean, we'd spend lots of time. But now it's like, everything's okay. Everything's cool. Everything's fine, Mom. And that's been a struggle, because it's like, I'm not dumb. Like I'm in my mid 40s. I've seen this. I understand what this is. So
do you pray with him? Do you pray
Hmm?
with just him? Like one of the things I do with my kids when they become teenagers is when we pray together as a family, but then I go and I pray with that one child, just us. And
Yeah,
sometimes I pray and sometimes they pray.
Yeah, he has told me that is not his thing anymore, and that he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. And I even said, well, let's call it meditating. Let's call it.
Super Sam meditates twice a day, morning and evening.
Like let's do some inward thinking.
There's some great Dr. Joe Dispenza has some teenager meditations on his website.
Yeah, so he I think, of course, he looks at me like I'm just wacko, but because I think that's the age too. It's like, oh, what do you know and stuff. But he's sweet and he's loving and he's affectionate and he still wants hugs and he still wants comfort, and he still needs. I see that. It's just like I said, I know it's definitely the COVID keeping him from things, and he is not doing homeschool anymore. He is in high school, but that's virtual, at least most of the time. And he decided we'd ask him about school because that kind of virtual school keeps you so separate from your kid. You really don't know what they're doing and what's going on. So you put a lot of trust into him. Well, he didn't do work for like a whole month practically. So then his grades went down to pretty much like 10s. And that was I was just brokenhearted about that. But
is there something else going on, Heather? There's something else. Just like, okay, so I'm gonna just ask. Some of you need to put some headphones on or excuse little children. Is there a porn issue?
There's definitely video game addiction issues.
No, the reason why I'm asking about the other is the other will cause depression in teenage boys. I mean, it causes depression in anybody, but it's this unobtainable, like the conversation I usually have is like, that's not what sex is really like, right? Like, and so the space where they can't be around other people their age in person, and then they have more access to the internet than normal.
Yes.
If you're not checking the search history and the browser history every week, then you need to start.
Well, I have tried and I have done. And my husband, he knows how to figure that out. So I think I'll just ask him to do more of that.
I would ask your husband to check the browser history every week. And if your son knows how to do incognito browsing, then you definitely want to have controls on your modem. Your modem most modems are smart modems today. You can put in keywords, you can put in key websites. PornTube should be one of those search terms. And be open about it. Be open about it. And then work on. I want my kids to enjoy life. But I also want them to have good habits. And so, there is a space of, you should just let them do what they want to do. I don't. We have family time and it's family time. And we come together for all of our meals and we have hard discussions and we read scriptures together and we do things that are important to us as a family. So this teenager space becomes an opportunity for us as adults to go, okay, wait a minute, what do I believe again? Like, what do I want this child to leave home with? And really ask yourself, like, what struggles are there and what is it that you're seeing? And how can you course correct?
Yeah.
It's not a picnic. Teenagers are hard.
No, it's hard. And well, he's my first one. So I think that's it's a huge learning curve, but and he has ADHD and things like that. So he's struggled for a long time.
So he needs
socially.
meditation. I mean, he totally needs meditation. It will help him. I'm going to highly recommend you hop on Dr. Joe Dispenza's site and look at there's ones for youth. There's a morning and evening one for youth. They're not very long. I think they're like 15 minutes a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps them. It's then words that aren't coming from you.
Yeah.
They're coming from Dr. Joe. And Dr. Joe helps them really get into like, how do you want to show up? What do you want to make happen in your life? Like what? And they're new. They're since COVID. So I think he's done a lot of things in response to like, how do I meet teenagers where they are right now? Because Sam will do a long one with me, but this one like is really good at like getting him into that space of finding where's Sam's space. Like what does he want? You know?
Yeah, and I was wanting to talk to him about even just his vision of what he wants to see happen, you know, with what he can do, or what does he, I don't know, like his motto or something about who he is, and because he's very sweet and he's good to his friends, and he cares about if they're going through personal troubles. He tries to counsel them and everything like that. But I just don't think he checks in to himself. Or if he does, it just seems like he would rather just say it's not a big deal or it's not a problem than really want to deal with it. So the meditation might, if I can convince him that it's not, just hokey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it depends on like how you view it too. Like if you think it's hokey, then it's going to be hokey. They're going to think that.
Been very private about that stuff. So, I mean, I'll do it, but it's not like I'm like, okay, everybody, let's, because my husband wouldn't participate. So I've kind of just winged it on my own a lot.
Sure.
And then
so maybe it's time to look at it differently, Heather. I meditate with my children all the time.
Yeah. So I've kind of just have, not made that a family thing, which is on me. But that's just because, I'm shy. Shy about that stuff. But so yes, I definitely need to, because I worry about him. I want him to, keep counting down the years of, oh, he's only got this much longer and I only have this much time to make sure he's confident in who he is and happy enough, to make good decisions and all. But so yeah, the 7-year-old and the 4-year-old, those are, it's like vacation.
Yeah. Very easy peasy.
It's like, oh, this is so great, and they think I'm great, and if
they love you and they think you're amazing.
Oh,
and you'll get back to that space with your 14-year-old. It's just going to take some concentrated time.
Hi, Melissa.
How are you doing?
I am doing well-ish. I'm in a place where, so I was homeschooling with you like years ago, and
I remember.
Yeah, and so I moved to another state, and so that I could work more and the boys could go to a school that I thought was a nice school. It was a charter school, and it was a little bit different, more emotional intelligence and things like that. But of course, as you know, everything went online. And so my 12-year-old now, Ethan, he went from we were doing 3rd grade when we lived in Wyoming. And then I realized he was going to be getting into 5th grade, which was mainstream wise, like that would be like the grade that he would have gone into. But because we were doing things a little differently, I was in 3rd grade. So I tried to mix a little bit of 3rd and 4th grade, but I missed a lot of things. And he started 5th grade in school 2 years ago.
So wait, how old is he? How old is Ethan?
He is 12 years and 10 months today.
So he's almost 13.
Yes.
So he should be in 7th grade.
Right. So
When
now
is
he's in
his
7th
birthday?
grade. Now he
Okay,
is in 7th grade. But when we moved here to Oregon, he was starting in 5th grade. And I guess
Got it.
what I'm
Okay.
telling you is that I
Sorry.
sort of botched 3rd and 4th a little bit.
I wouldn't worry about it. Just hop into where you
Okay.
are.
So now he is, he went through 5th grade. It was a little bit difficult. He went through most of 6th grade, but then they went online and everything's still online. He's having a very hard time wanting to, like, having any motivation whatsoever. And I feel like he's not being met at all where he actually is. And
so are you bringing them back to homeschool them?
I want
Or
to
have you
start
considered our
homeschooling.
school? Have you considered Seasons of 7 virtual school?
I haven't a lot because I'm not in a financial place to add anything to my plate right now.
Okay, so if you're going to bring them home, then now's a good time. It's the middle of the school year.
Yeah. And we're like, Ethan's in a place where there's a very good chance if I kept him in 7th grade right now, he would fail anyway. So I'm really wanting to bring him back into homeschool. I technically probably couldn't homeschool my 8-year-old who's, because of his dad, is not okay with it. I can fill in a lot of things, but I'm not going to be able to just say, okay, you're done with online school right now. I guess I'm wondering, because we're in the middle of the year, where would be best to focus my efforts? Like,
with your oldest, the best place to focus your efforts is to getting him whole again. He's failing for a reason. He's not fulfilled. So bring him home. Read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Read Journey to the Center of the Earth. Do things together. Reignite his passion for learning. What does he love to do? Spend some time reigniting that, and then you can bring lessons back.
Okay.
But you need to decode, like, the space of like him not wanting to learn. He's lost his love for that, and rightfully so. Again, there are so many issues with teenagers, and all children are struggling right now. The children are the colossal casual damage with this. And so the best thing you can do is really bring him close to your bosom again and find out what he needs. Like, spend some time in prayer meditation. What does he need?
Yeah.
What does he need from you right now? How does he need you to show up?
Okay. That's good. That takes some pressure off too.
And then, if you want to start coming to office hours, come to office hours. You're a lifetime member, come to office hours. They happen 4 times a month.
Okay.
It'll help keep you going.
I work in an office, like a clinic. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I work in an office Tuesdays and Fridays, pretty much 9 to 5. And I've been bringing them with me, and they've been doing their school online. But do you have any
Tuesdays and Fridays are the
suggestions?
days that you work, so I would just do school on those other days.
Yeah.
And for your 7th grader, if you're bringing them to work, then what things does he like to do that he could do to keep himself busy? Because my guess is he's bored to tears, and he's just over it. He's just over it. That's what I'm hearing from so many families that went from school to online schooling. Not in our school. Our school, they're engaged constantly with the teacher, with the other classmates, and all of that. But that's what I'm hearing from people whose kids have been doing the online school. The kids are over it. They're over this. Yeah. They'd like to move on from this. They've learned some things, but they've learned a lot about how adults in their lives fail them. So how can we help them not feel like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does he love to do? That's what I would dial into.
Okay. It's been hard, like trying to limit him on screen time because he's been getting so much, and he's got such a big interest now in video games, although I still limit it, but it
is what it is. You know what? Like, he's a teenage boy. And so go, all right, well, what are you playing? Pay attention to what they're playing. There are things that are never going to be played in my house. Not even by my husband.
I mean, it's just Minecraft.
So, okay.
Animal Crossing. It's pretty,
all right,
pretty tame.
Yeah, Animal Crossing. My kids the other day, they're like, oh, it's supposed to snow in Animal Crossing today. I'm like, and? Like, we live in Arizona. Like, why does that please you? So, I think it's about like balancing it. So what do you do as a family to balance that? Do you spend enough time outside? Do you go and, explore nature? Do you, outside of that gaming thing, do you discover other things as a family? We discovered a show called Cities of the Underworld the other day that I had known about, and Sam's all of a sudden like, oh, what? The show exists? And it's really cool. And it's all about things that he didn't know about places, and he loves that kind of thing. So find things that you can enjoy together as a family, so that when there is media time, it's a breath out for them. It's not a taking up space. What other things does he like?
Would you also say then that means I'm taking him out of school?
You're a 7th grader? Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like if he's going to fail anyways, and you don't have any objection from his birth father, then it's all on you. But I mean, I wouldn't keep my child in a situation where they were failing.
Okay.
I would consider highly now what you're going to do for the fall. If that means you got to take on an extra day of work so you can afford Seasons of 7, I would absolutely do it. I would, because Mr. Donovan is a 7th grade teacher right now, so your son will be in 8th grade in the fall. This is a good teacher.
Okay.
I would consider that, or dive into homeschooling him fully yourself.
Yeah.
You can do that on 3 days a week. I only homeschool 3 days a week.
Yeah. Okay.
There's so many things that you can do, but I would definitely spend time in prayer and meditation first.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Julie, did we get my coaches for being here? We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody for joining us today. Again, if you are a TFW member, get your butt to office hours.